Thanks for joining me, folks. Today we've got another 4 battles, 2 double battles and 2 multi-battles. There's no single battle this time. And this team, as I mentioned at the end of the video last week, is all Gen 9 Pokemon, exclusively from Scarlet and Violet, plus its DLCs. Now this is going to be my last region team, obviously, until Generation 10, which I'm guessing is a year or more away. But I'll still have type teams.
God, it's a one-hit wonder!
Alright, so we start off here, unfortunately, having my Walking Wake taken out with 1 hit. My strategy here, sending out Walking Wake and Scovillain at once, is have Walking Wake set up the Sunlight because it's faster, and then have Scovillain, which will then benefit from the Chlorophyll boost, spam Solar Beam. After that turn, that's obviously going to activate Walking Wake's Photosynthesis, which will bump its special attack up, and then it can use whatever I forget the name of its water type's signature move that gets a 50% boost in Sunlight rather than having a 50% damage drop. So that was my strategy here. Obviously, having Walking Wake one-shotted did not have that work very well. Some of the later battles, you get to see that working a bit more as planned. So, after Walking Wake, I sent out my favorite of the Gen 9 legendaries, Chi-Yu, I think is its name. I don't know, I called it Mr. Bubbles, because it sounded like a good goldfish name. So, I finally get the Sunlight set up here, with my Scovillain called Carolina Reaper. And, after Mr. Bubbles gets knocked out, I send in Mousehold, my secret weapon here. Not really so secret because it's a real common strategy to use here, but basically this Mousehold I have Terra Normal, so normal moves are double powered. It's also got a Silk Scarf to make that a little bit stronger.
God, it's a one-hit wonder!
Rest in peace, Carolina Reaper. And, sorry, no, not a Silk Scarf. It has the Wide Lens to boost its accuracy, because with Population Bomb, each hit has a 90% chance to hit. That makes it 99 with that item.
God, it's a one-hit wonder!
So you are almost guaranteed all 10 hits with Population Bomb, and with the normal Terra, that's doing double the damage it normally would. So, that's sort of my secret weapon there. It is extraordinarily effective. It was Pimp Knight who gave me the idea for that. I saw him use that particular setup in one of his battles, and
God, it's a one-hit wonder!
Decided that it was so effective I had to adopt it. Now, unfortunately, their Flutter Mane outsped mine, and mine got one-shotted. I managed to take out that Flutter Mane with Play Rough. Obviously couldn't use Population Bomb on that. Ghost type would have saved it. And it's not going to do much against this Goodra since it's the Hisuian Goodra with the Steel typing. And I don't really have a good counter for this. This Goodra was a major wrench in my plans. But Population Bomb will work well against Grimmsnarl, and I tried going for this boosted Night Slash here, hoping to get a critical hit and do, I don't know, something. Because I really didn't have a good counter for Goodra with what I had on the field right here. So fortunately that Population Bomb easily finishes off that Grimmsnarl. It got Reflect set up, but taking it out did manage to prevent it from being able to set up any other obnoxious status moves. That said, I do unfortunately lose my Mousehold. Now, for those of you who use Mousehold, do you have the 4-mouse form or the 3-mouse form? I forget which one is the more common one, but one of them you have like a 10% chance to get, and you don't know if you'll get it until it evolves. So I spent like a solid day breeding and evolving Tandem Mouse just to get that for my living decks. Now, if you saw my last video with my Galar team, Well, I guess that'd be 2 videos ago. But the video with the Galar team, you'll know that I have a little bit of PTSD from Shadow Rider Calyrex. So I screamed in frustration when I saw that thing come out. And of course, the team with the Shadow Rider Calyrex beats me into the ground. No surprise there. I think I'm cursed when it comes to facing off against that Pokemon. So, started off with a loss. Not a big deal. Double battle number 2 here. We're going up against a Baxcalibur and a Porygon Z, and I'm going to try again here to get my Walking Wake and Scovillain strategy going. Now, I don't immediately go for the Sunny Day with Walking Wake, because I know that Baxcalibur is going to be a huge threat, and I need to take that out first. So, I go for Dragon Pulse with Walking Wake, almost get it down, use Sunny Day with my Scovillain instead. That's going to do the same thing. Activate Walking Wake's Photosynthesis, and now Scovillain is going to get a speed boost. It's also going to be able to get off that Solar Beam in 1 turn instead of 2, and that is a massively powerful move, as anybody who's played Pokemon since Gen 1 knows. Finish off that Baxcalibur with the Dragon Pulse, and that Porygon Z is 1 hit away from going down as well after that Solar Beam. Now, unfortunately, I do lose my Walking Wake there to the second Psybeam off of that Porygon Z. And I'm going to be honest, that wasn't super surprising. Porygon Z is a real good Pokemon, solid special attack stat there. But I send in Mr. Bubbles so that its Dark type will keep it protected from that Psybeam. And I know this is only going to be neutral damage because Palkia is Dragon, but it's Dragon and Water, so I go for the neutral damage with that Solar Beam. And I do a solid 2/3 damage there. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Then Mr. Bubbles finishes off Porygon Z with that Dark Pulse. Now, fortunately, since Mr. Bubbles is a legendary, although a little goldfish doesn't look it, he manages to survive that water move from Palkia. And with this Ogerpon, I wasn't really sure how to go about this one, because it's the Grass-Fire one. And that's a typing that I don't think we saw before this gen. First with Scovillain, and then once the DLC came out with Ogerpon. But I finished off the Palkia, because that was obviously important. With this Ivy Cudgel, it does manage to take out Scovillain. I was hoping it would survive, since that would just be neutral damage, but being a fire type...
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
Being a fire type Ivy Cudgel, the Sunlight boosted it the same way that that Fire Blast was able to one-shot the Ogerpon despite being neutral damage. So in comes Terapagos and Miraidon. So that's now 3 legendaries on their team, whereas I only had 1. Shame on them, wagging my finger. So I send in my Fluttermane, nicknamed Miss Manglus. I tried to give most of my Paradox Pokemon nicknames that referenced the Pokemon they're based on. So, like, my Fluttermane here is Miss Manglus, referencing Miss Drevis. My Roaring Moon is Salamenis, referencing Salamence. I try to give them names like that. They don't all have that, but that's sort of the goal. So, we've got the electric terrain down from the Miraidon, and now the Miraidon is going to Terra Electric to capitalize on that power of it. And it's lucky for them, because that, taking away that dark typing, or sorry, not dark, dragon typing, is the only reason it survived that Moonblast from my Fluttermane. And because of that, they were able to use the Electro Drift to take out poor Mr. Bubbles. Rest in peace. Reminds me of, I think I actually might have included this in one of my team videos when I battled against him. A friend of mine from college has a Garganacl. A female Garganacl that he named Mr. Knackles. And it's one of the reasons I named my Chi-Yu Mr. Bubbles, because I thought just Mr. Knackles was such a hilariously mundane-sounding name that also fit. I had to pay homage to that. So I'm going to finish off this Miraidon with another Moonblast, and then I'm going to hit the Terapagos with the Population Bomb, hoping that between the Terra Power, regular same type attack bonus, and hitting every time, I'm going to be able to take out this legendary in 1 hit before it can be a real pain in my tail. So, I'm never sure how this is going to go because I am too lazy to look up its ability and figure out how it changes typings. So it's always sort of a wild card for me what effectiveness an attack's going to have. I should definitely just look it up. Bulbapedia exists for a reason, but I am lazy. So it barely manages to hang on, fires off a steel move to finish off my Flutter Mane. So I believe that was, yeah, that's their last Pokemon, and Bowshold I believe is mine, but because I am faster, I'm able to finish it off with one more Population Bomb, only needed a couple hits there, and that won the battle for me. So, thank you, Mr. Japanese fellow, or excuse me, Miss Japanese Lady, for that battle. That was a fun one. I enjoyed that, despite the fact that you're a noob that used half a team of legendaries. I say that, but the next team I'm planning to do is going to be a legendary team that's going to be all legendary. So, you know, next week's my week to super noob it up. So here's the first multi-battle. Start with my Walking Wake. It's one of my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon. And my ally starts off with Galarian Articuno. And we're up against Flamigo, and I don't remember what the other one was. Let's see. Oh, right. Minccino. Not a Pokemon you see often, and one of my favorite things in online battles to see is people use Pokemon that don't get used often. So, Minccino, while definitely not unheard of, not a Pokemon that I see a lot online. So it was kind of cool to see that. Flamigo I see more often, but it's still not really a go-to online. So they both focus on that Articuno, which makes sense. But it does give me a chance to pop off the Sunlight there and really maximize Walking Wake's power. I need to give it a Suicune themed name. Maybe Walking Wakeun, although that just sounds like a Japanese kid. Anyway, Ally sends in Garchomp. Fortunately, Walking Wake is able to tank that hit. Unfortunately, that Minccino
It's a one-hit wonder!
Pops off a triple axis and one-shots the Garchomp. Triple axis, triple axle, which one did I say? Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So I finish off the Flamigo with a Hydro Steam. Honestly, in hindsight, maybe should have used that on Minccino, because Flamigo seemed perfectly content to keep killing itself with Brave Bird, but that was also doing a ton of damage to my Pokemon, so it was really probably for the best that I got rid of that.
Hacker.
And, of course, here comes the hacked Pokemon. Hacked Shiny Umbreon. Now, I understand why they focused on my Walking Wake there to finish it off, because I was definitely going to one-shot that thing with a Hydro Steam, but it really frustrates me, because I was really looking forward to one-shotting it with Hydro Steam. However, that's only the first Pokemon I've lost. My ally's down to their last one, but I've still got my other two. So, Bullet Seed here into that Umbreon. Umbreon's pretty tanky physically, so not a ton of damage there. And it does manage to pop off the Psychic and deal decent, although not quite half damage, to that Salazzle, taking advantage of its poison typing. Umbreon is mainly a defensive Pokemon. It is not the best offensively, so it makes sense that it did so little despite being super effective. So with the Sunlight still up, I send out my Scovillain so that it can take advantage of that with one-turn Solar Beams, boosted Flamethrowers, and the boosted Speed stat. Fire is not a stat, silly me. So we've got the Stellar-type Terra Minccino here. Everybody knew what I was going to do. Obviously the one-turn Solar Beam with the same type attack bonus into that Minccino to try to
It's a one-hit wonder!
Take it down, which I successfully do in one hit. Now, unfortunately for me,
It's a one-hit wonder!
that Salazzle does have a type advantage over me and manages to one-shot the Scovillain with that Sludge Bomb. So we get a good damage roll from the Umbreon there, does just over half damage, what we needed to finish off that Salazzle. So we're in a real good spot. I've got one Pokemon left, my teammate's got one left, one of my enemies has one left, The other, I think, might be on their last, or on... They have one left. Yeah, the Persian's their last Pokemon. So, we are both... I think this one, where the Dondozo came in, I think they have one more in reserve, because we kind of ignored that Minccino. But, of course, I've got my secret weapon here. So, I go into the Terra Normal on Mousehold, and that's my plan to try to turn this battle around. I gotta admit, like, Terra, I think, is a cool gimmick, the Terra types, but they really made it look dumb. You know, I was hoping the... No, I actually don't know what I was hoping, but giant shiny hat is stupid. I do not like that at all. I understand that they're not going to do, 18 models for every Pokemon to show type differences, but, something other than a shiny hat would have been nice. Now, unfortunately, Persian is pretty well set up to prevent what I was trying to do there. Used Fake Out to prevent me from using Population Bomb by flinching me, and then the Dondozo uses Yawn so that I can at best get off one Population Bomb before going to sleep. And I couldn't even do that because the Persian finished off my Mousehold with that U-turn. So they knew what I was planning. I think the Terra Normal probably gave it away, but they really prevented me from being able to have even a chance to turn this around. So now it's basically hacked Umbreon against the world, because that was my last Pokemon. That Mousehold was it for me. Now, while the Ghost Terra is going to keep them from being able to use fighting moves against that Umbreon, the Persian has Shadow Claw, which is going to be just as bad. Liquidation may not be doing much because of its bulk, and its bulk's the only reason it survived that first Shadow Claw, but it is obvious that this is not going to end well for my team. So one more Shadow Claw ought to do it. They're trying to do what they can to take out at least one of these Pokemon. Manages to survive that Liquidation on 5 hit points. However, the reason they were surviving the Liquidation so well is because the Sunlight was there. Sunlight's gone now, so it doesn't matter which of them lands a move first, whether it was the Shadow Claw that ended up finishing it off or the Liquidation that was going to come from the Dondozo. That Umbreon was not going to make it, and that's a sad defeat for my team in the first multi-battle. So, thank you, folks, for doing that multi-battle. It's always fun to find one of those. So now, the last multi-battle. It's me and Shiny Emolga against Yami and Shiny Eevee. I love those names. Solid there. I actually change up how I start here. I start leading with my Flutter Mane, because I saw most of their team was types weak to some attack that Flutter Mane had. So I lead with them. Now I've got something that can take out both of these. I do have an electric move on this Flutter Mane that could handle the Greninja, but since Greninja is water and dark, Flutter Mane's Moonblast could handle either.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
One of these Pokemon, and I end up prioritizing the Greninja just because of its dark moves. That would be super effective against Gengar and super effective, I believe, no, neutrally effective because of the Fairy. Either way, a solid damage against my Flutter Mane. So the Crocodile comes out, uses Protect. Sableye does burn my Flutter Mane here, but it doesn't use physical moves, so that's only mildly inconvenient.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
Now, I did not know, I had no reason to believe the Crocodile was going to use Protect. It was just luck that I targeted Sableye instead. So now, my team still has all 6 Pokemon, and the opposing team is down to 2 of their 6. So we start off really strong here. And here comes this Blaziken. It was an event Blaziken, assuming it's legitimate. The celebratory title sort of gives that away. And I take out the Crocodile.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
It used Protect last turn, which meant I knew it wasn't going to use it this turn, and I needed to take advantage of the opportunity to take it out. Again, did not know Blaziken was going to use Protect, although that is not an uncommon strategy, since most people who use Blaziken online use one with its hidden ability, Speed Boost. So now we've got Talonflame here. I have, like I mentioned, Electric move here, and I had actually tried to use Thunderbolt on Talonflame, not expecting that Blaze Kick to take me out that easily. But fortunately, the Gengar has Thunder and managed to land it. Now, Talonflame is not going to go down, but it is going to get paralyzed. However, then my opponents give up.
Is a gigantic noob.
Thanks for watching, folks. Tune in next week when we get back to the theme teams. Have a good one.